Hi everyone, it's Catherine here from Ink Finger Cat, back with another 30-day Christmas card making challenge. And today's theme is Christmas Flora. And I surprised myself, forced myself, not to use the Alex Syberia dies that I've been using quite a lot in this challenge. Just because I'm slightly obsessed with them. But instead to grab this really, really old, you can see how interesting looking the stamps are now. They're completely coated and stained. But these are Creative Stamping Magazine stamps from several years ago. Don't know when from. I love them. Don't think I'll ever be getting rid of them because I just love them so much. And I thought I'd do my messy watercolour embossing thing. So anyone who's followed me for some time will have probably seen me do this kind of technique before. The idea is you put your cardstock in your stamp platform or whatever stamping apparatus you have, so that you can repeat the exercise and put it back in again later. You stamp it with a light coloured ink. It doesn't have to be a light coloured ink, to be honest, but I always tend to do it either in Sahara Sand or Smoky Grey, just because it just keeps it light and it means it doesn't interfere with the painting. And then you paint, and you can paint with whatever paint you want. I'm actually using just inks and a little bit of water on a brush to pick them up. And I'm going in and just choosing to do sections that are not necessarily next to each other so that I don't have to worry about the colours mingling too much. I don't want them to spread too much. I have stamped this for a change on watercolour paper. I normally just stamp on the white that I'm using a lot of at the moment is usually the Crafter's Companion one. But yeah, I decided instead that I just wanted to do it on watercolour cardstock, which means you can put a lot more water down than I actually do. This is why I don't normally bother, because I don't normally go in heavy with the water, especially not for this technique. But yeah, it does mean there's a slight texture to it and it looks really pretty when it's all dried. Now I will say my paintbrush was not the cleanest paintbrush in the world and did have some shimmer ink particles in it, which is fine because it just means that my painting ended up a little bit shimmery in places. Not enough to really pick it up on probably the camera, but in real life I can see some little particles of shimmer especially in the wider spaces, like in the leaves on that poinsettia type floral, or the petals of it. So once it's dry with kind of one of the colours, I am going in with a slightly different colour just to sort of mix it up a little bit. So I started with Cherry Cobbler for the red, and now I'm going with Rich Raspberry for the purple. Actually, that might be Blackberry Bliss, sorry. The greens, I did a mix of Mossy Meadow, Gumball Green and Tranquil's Hide. And it just helps to kind of clear them up. Not clear them up, to kind of mix them up a little bit so you've got some different pigments in there, some different colours. I think this would be lovely done with brush shows as well, must admit. I've not done that for a little while. I use my brush shows to do that kind of painting. Right, now I'm popping it back into the stamp platform. I have not moved those stamps. I'm leaving them where they are. I am adding in a sentiment stamp at this point, although bizarrely I don't actually ink it on my first lot of thingy because I ink the stamps before I've actually put the stamp onto the side. So I was a bit confused as to how and why I'd managed to miss the actual sentiment, but never mind. And then I'm inking it with Versamark and then heat embossing with gold. And what happens is this turns something that looked like a bit of a weird hot mess into something quite cool with all of the gold. I didn't do the neatest of jobs of brushing away the spare speckles of the powder, but it doesn't matter because I already intended to do the next step, which was to add in some splatters. But I was a little bit more precise with my splatters, and I used this gorgeous grunge stamp. This stamp set I've had for donkey's years, which is why it's a wood mount stamp. It's just perfect for adding a bit of grunginess, but in a controlled manner. And that allowed me to add the speckles, and then it didn't matter that there were a couple of extra extra little bits of speckles that I wasn't expecting. Stray speckles, that's the words I was trying to come up with. Okay, I decided to then mount it onto the green card blank and keep this as a really flat card. I just trimmed it down a little bit more so I'd got a nice frame around. using my ATG just to keep it nice and flat. Because it was a watercolour cardstock, it hadn't really warped or anything because I've not used that much water on it, but I made sure I put loads of adhesive on there just to make sure. Now, I had kept the stamps in the stamp platform, so this is my little insert for going inside the card, and I'm just doing it with, I think it was Lucky Limeade. I ended up grabbing, I just wanted a lighter coloured ink in the green, and that's just going to add that same pattern on the inside, but not so in your face that you can't then sort of like write over it if you need to. And then I'm adding some gems. Some red gems that I just thought worked with the colour scheme from those flowers. And that's my card done. Yeah, I'm going to do a bit of tidying up before I finish the video. But yeah, that's my card done. I love the shine of the gold embossing. I've become a real gold girl in recent, probably the last 2 years. I've sort of really taken to using gold as opposed to silvers. And I just love it. Absolutely love it. So I hope you've enjoyed that. It was quite a simple card because it was all sort of like just stamped, bit of colouring, stamped again, bit of embossing. Please do like if you enjoyed it. Comment below, have you tried this technique where you stamp, colour and then stamp again with the embossing? I'd love to know. Please subscribe to see future videos. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Until next time, bye-bye.